been moving slowly, so we already in too deep. Can't get no sleep on each other, heavy teasing all day, and when the sun sets, you asking me to come through, kick it with you. Night turn into morning dew, then you feel it freshening. You don't wanna go slow.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Joseph. I'm in the studio with our lovely Matilda, and what we're going to be doing today is playing with soft lights. I'm going to be modifying this single light I have in 3 different ways and show you how you can create soft lights in your home studio. So first off, I am using my Flashpoint Explore 600, and that light is shooting into a silver umbrella. And what that's going to do is, if you look at the way I have positioned it, it's going to bounce off this white wall that we have, and it's just going to, you know, enter the frame, spill, bounce everywhere, do everything, and then basically just give us soft light. So the general rule for creating soft lights is, if you have a light source that is larger than your subject, then you're going to get soft light, right? So if I have a very small light source, maybe something like this, and it's lighting up my subject, it's going to be a lot harder than if I have like light that is, you know, really big as the wall, lighting her up. So that's the principle we're going to be using today to create very soft light for her. And I'll show you 3 ways by which we can create that. And this first way is just by bouncing onto this wall and then lighting her up. So let's start with that, and then I'll show you my second setup, and then the third one, which is going to be the use of another modifier. So let's start with this. I'm shooting with my Canon R5, and I have the Sigma 50 1.4 ad lens on it. I also have a trigger on there to communicate with this Explore 600 strobe. I'm using a very strong strobe because of the way I am modifying the light. We need a lot of power to light up our scene, and we're also going to be competing with this LED in the shot. So I need to set my camera to some settings which is not going to allow this to affect the shot so much. I am also tethering into Capture One, so I'm going to fire up Capture One, make sure we are connected, yeah, okay. So what I'm going to start off with is 1/160 on the shutter speed, f2.8, ISO 100. I'll just take a quick test shot, see where we are at, and it comes up onto Capture One. We don't really see our subject, but we can see the outfit that she's wearing, even though it's completely underexposed. If I look at my histogram as well, I can see that we really are not affecting the scene a lot. So maybe what I'll even do is just increase my shutter speed to 1/200. That is the maximum sync speed. I'll take one more test and see if there's any difference. Yeah, it just makes my subject a little bit darker. So we can just keep this, and now I'll turn on my strobe. So Matilda, just move a little bit this way and come forward just a tiny bit. All right. My flash power is set to 1/16.7. Let me just take a shot. If we're lucky, it should give us a very good exposure. If not, we'll just adjust the power accordingly. So, all right. I really like the way it's looking. It's giving us a little bit of like a side light, so maybe like the light's coming in from a window or something of that nature, but it's really, really soft. I love it. What I'll do, because I want the light to wrap around a little bit more, is I'll just bring it forward more towards me, and I'll just take another shot. I really love this simple poses. Yeah, so this is way better. We have more wrap around our subject. I really love the feel of it. This is what I was imagining. But before we start taking a few more shots of this, let me just do a quick demo for you guys to see. If I just move this light closer to Matilda and take a shot from where I am, yeah, keep that. I really love it. You see that now it's giving us a more dramatic feel because it's almost like a side light. The light is very close to her. But if I bring this light forward all the way to where we were previously, I didn't mark it, I'm just eyeballing again. And take one more shot. I really like the head tilt that way. Yeah, that's it, perfect. Now you can see that the light is filling more of the areas and it's giving us a very soft light. I really love it. So let's just take a few more poses and then we'll transition to our next setup. All right, so I really want, I want like you to open up your arms a little bit, give me like some triangles in there, stuff like that. So you can put your hands on your waist, you can put it together, but just keep a little bit of gap in between. Yeah, perfect, I love it. Yeah, that's stunning. Move a little, just a tiny bit, yeah, and then turn your body more towards where the light is coming from. Yeah, perfect.
You, night turn to morning dew, then you
Yeah, perfect. But then you awesome.
control. You don't wanna go slow, for sure. We both already know your place is my place now. My place is your place. Let's face it, baby.
Yes.
You know all the places, places. My place is your place. My place, your place, my place. Just face it. No one knows my place.
Okay, I think we have like some really amazing shots out of this. Now let's just quickly set up for our next way of modifying this to give us soft light as well.
Baby, don't stop. Got the key to the lock. We in our own.
All right, so we have our second setup ready. The principle is quite similar to the first setup, right? And let me just prove that. So initially, the light was bouncing off the wall right here and lighting up my subject. I have the same thing going on, but this time it's from overhead. And she's not standing like right underneath the light. There's a bit of gap between where my light is and where my subject is. And if I measure, it's about 4.5 or 5 feet between my light and my subject. So it's not like direct light lighting her up. We're just using that spill. So we want this umbrella to spill the light all over the top of our ceiling and use that spread of light to light my subject. That's how come we're going to be getting very soft light. So right now it's centered. So I'm sure when I start taking shots, we're going to get like a very flat light on my subject, but let's just take a few shots and see what we get. So yeah, keep that, don't change too much. I really love this pose. Maybe just relax your fingers a little bit. All right, like I said, this is really dramatic. So we're getting some heavy shadows underneath. Let me just take one more. Okay, so it's all about the fine tuning. You might just need to either move this a little closer or a little further, stuff like that. And let me just bring it more towards the side so we get a little bit more direction to the light. Let me just bring it further back. And I feel like this should give us a different vibe, but still give us like soft light. Let's just take one more shot. So I didn't change my settings, nothing, but you can see that this light is still very soft. It has a little bit of direction to it. We have some shadows underneath. Because of the way the light is positioned, all the shadows are falling downwards, but it's also a nice vibe. So just lift your chin in this case because of where the light is coming from. And then let's just take a few more shots. Yeah, I like the way your hands were. Yeah, just relax like that. Perfect. Beautiful. I think put your weight on that leg instead. Yeah, shift it. Yes. And then tiptoe. Perfect.
My place is your place. My place, your place, my place. Just face it. No one knows my places like you do. Your places like I do. My place like you do.
Okay, so now for our third and final setup, I need to break all this down and then completely change it because we're adding another modifier to this entire scene.
Baby, don't stop. Got the key to the lock. We in our own zone. Make yourself at home. Get to know mine on the inside. Can meet at yours next time. And you feel it fresh and lose control.
All right, so this is our third and final setup, but this, to be honest, is what inspired today's video. So it's all about bouncing light and stuff like that, but this I feel is more versatile because you can control it. You can open it to determine how like wide you want your spill to be. You can also close it up so you can narrow and focus that spread of light, right? And you can position this basically anywhere. Like you can vary the distance and stuff like that. But if it's like a studio wall, you only have the proximity that the wall gives you, but this just gives you a little bit more versatility. So let's just see how this fares, how soft this will also give us. Again, we are bouncing the same umbrella into this V flat, and that V flat is what is going to spread the light back onto my subject. Another thing that's also helping us get very soft light is the fact that we don't have the light shining directly on our subject. All we've been doing so far is using an indirect light source, and you know, the hotspots portion of it is hitting the umbrella, and that is just going back onto the surface and being spread out and washing out everywhere. And also we're adding this reflector, you know, just to help bounce some of that light back onto our subject. So just, you know, mixing, matching, bouncing light everywhere, making this small light source very big is what is giving us this really large light source and giving us soft light. So I'm going to leave a link to the V flat down below if you want to get it. The link is down below. Anyway, all right, so Matilda, are you ready? And one thing, I have not changed my settings. All I've done is just reposition the light. We started from the wall to the ceiling. Now we're using a V flat. Okay, so Matilda, oh, I love it. Perfect. Actually, just come forward just so we can get a little bit more punch in the light. Yeah, I really love that pose you did before. So let's just, ooh, this is amazing. I really love the quality out of it. Oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful. Perfect. I feel like you should push your hip a little more, like exaggerate it for me.
Places, your place, my place, your place, my place. Just face it. No one knows my places like you do. Your places like I do. My place like you do.
Alright, so I just want us to have a closer look at the way the light affected our shots. Even though they're all soft, because of the way we position the light, it affected the images a little bit differently. So with the very first shot, for example, you can see that it's almost like a split light that we were getting because the light was all the way to the left hand side, and that is what was supposed to wrap around. If you look into her eyes, for example, you can see that we have our light source and then we have our fill light. Especially if I zoom into this eye, for example, you can see that our light source is over here, and then we have a fill light from the reflector opening up the shadows. Once you can see it, it means that there was a bit of bounce light. And to make it more obvious, I can even draw a line in between. You can see that this half is in shadow, or it's a little bit darker than this area where the light was coming from. And I feel like this just gives it a more cinematic feel, because I know that in movies that's how they like to shoot typically, just to create more depth and then make that flat dimension look a little bit more three-dimensional, you know. So if I go back to the set that we have again, in the middle image you can see that we have a more dramatic image going on, and that is because the light was coming in from the top. So if I go back to the fuller shot, the light was coming in from directly above, and so it's casting like deep shadows underneath her neck, and anywhere that is opposite of the light is going to go a little bit darker. So if I was going to use this light source for like a closer shot, I would definitely add in a reflector so that it can bounce some of that light back onto my subject, and by doing that it's also going to help with the catch lights in her eyes. You can see that her eyes look a little bit dead. If you're comparing it to the other two images, you can see that the other two have a bit more life in them. So that is something that I want you to consider as well. Moving on to the very last image, which is my absolute favorite. So immediately you can see that the image on the right really stands out, and that's because of the catch lights. The light's a little bit more direct in this case, and so you can really see that pop in her eyes. It just brings everything to life. But I absolutely love the way the light is just wrapping around. You don't seem to have that depth comparing it to the first image, even though I had to move the light a little bit more to the left. And so you can see that we have our light source coming in from here, and then we have a little little bit of shadow on the side. It's not as deep as the first lighting scenario that we created, and so it's soft overall, but it still has a bit more depth in it. The colors are muted, a little bit more natural. If you look at the other two, they have a little bit of a warm tint. That might be because of the color of the white wall itself, not necessarily the lights that I use. It might be the surface that I was bouncing off that created the shift in tone. So that's something that you also need to note, that your modifiers also do affect your color temperature, and that is why it's really important to calibrate your white balance as often as possible anytime that you're shooting with artificial light. Yeah, so let's just have a fuller look at the image. As you can see, this has a three-dimensional pop, as I mentioned. The one with the dramatic light, you can see that it has its own unique feel, and I feel like there are times that you can use this. This is not my go-to lighting scenario, but I just wanted to do a demo for you guys to see. And with our third and final image, you can see that it has a really soft, embracing feel to it. You can't almost tell where the light is coming from, I know, but everything is just bright and airy and soft, and I absolutely love the way it looks. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys found it informative. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. If you have questions as well, let me know in the comments down below. Check out my digital store. I have some digital products that if you co-op, you're supporting the channel, so you can create more free content like this. If you want to see Matilda again, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, let me know which of them you liked, the light setups and the images that we got out of them. Catch you guys in the next video. Remember, don't ever give up.